Welcome back to Sunrise. Iconic 1960s sex symbol Brigitte Bardot has died aged 91. The French screen legend and singer passed away at her home in the south of France.
She was the face of a generation, credited with revolutionising cinema and music, acting in nearly 50 films and recording more than 60 songs. But beyond the movies and the microphone is where Bardot found her true calling, dedicating her life to animal rights. And for more, we are joined by Daily Mail reporter Nick Pease live from London. Good morning to you, Nick. Tell us, how is Brigitte Bardot being remembered? Because, of course, she does leave something of a complicated legacy.
That's right, yeah. When you said in your introduction there, if you look at those pictures of her acting back there in the 1960s, she really revolutionised Hollywood back then, because you have to remember it was very conservative back then. And to see this very voluptuous, stunningly attractive actress on stage with her blonde hair, often worn in a trademark beehive or loose around her shoulders, she really did captivate the cinema goers and the public at the time. I mean, there was a very famous film, which I'm sure you know and your viewers know, And God Created Woman in 1956, which really set her on the road to stardom. And that film, basically, you can see from those images there, she was using her very good looks to basically captivate the audience. And it was a film that caused a great deal of clamour and controversy, actually. The Vatican banned it because they said it was far too sexualised. And also it was cut in several places in her own country of France as well, which was actually quite surprising, given that she was such a famous French actress. But it was really, really big in Hollywood, and it set her on the road to stardom. But as you said there in your introduction, she also was a very controversial figure, especially in her later life. She was fined several times for inciting racial hatred, and she also made several homophobic slurs in her home country of France, which caused a great deal of clamour. She was very outspoken, and then, as you said, they also devoted her life to animals in her later life.
She almost had such a complicated relationship with her fame, didn't she, Nick? And it seems like that is what pushed her to move away from movies and music and towards this life as an animal activist. She felt like she was hunted by the paparazzi back in the day.
That's right, yes. She made, I think it was 40-odd films at a push that I've counted. And then in 1973, she suddenly stopped and decided to devote her time to animals and her life to looking after animals. There's a very famous quote that she apparently told one of her friends, which sort of perhaps sums her up, if I can read it to you. If men were like dogs, never talking, I would never have fallen out with a man. And then she also said when she retired that I gave my beauty and my youth to men. I'm going to give my wisdom, my experience to animals. And then, as I say, she did set up that Brigitte Bardot Foundation, which really campaigned to look after animals. And the Society of French Animal French Animal Protection has come out and said that she was an iconic campaigner, and that she really devoted her life, the latter part of her life, to looking after animals. And there are tributes have been paid to her by the Emmanuel Macron, who said this afternoon her films, her voice, her dazzling glory, her sorrows, her generous passion for animals, again enhancing that love of animals that she had. Brigitte Bardot embodied a life of freedom. She touched us, and she was a woman and a legend of the century.
I love that she's going to have a simple farewell, because she doesn't want, quote, a crowd of idiots going to her funeral. So she certainly wasn't backwards about coming forwards in terms of her thoughts. Nick, thank you so much for sharing some of her legacy and memory with us this morning.
Thanks, Nick.